everyone, welcome back to another speed build, or if this is your first time coming across one of my videos, welcome. On this channel I like to do speed builds in The Sims 4, and today I am doing a kind of rundown shack kind of home. This is actually inspired by the ugly homes and kind of crime scene pictures. I know that sounds horrible, but you know, I figure I wanted to do something completely different from my usual thing, because you know, a lot of times we like to make houses that look aesthetically pleasing and things that are cute and enjoyable, and I just wanted to kind of think outside the box a little bit and create something that was ugly and you know, not your typical. I wanted to create something that wasn't your typical kind of cute home or modern home or things like that. And I actually was trying to find things that look kind of messed up or dirty when I was going through the swatches of everything. That was actually part of the reason why I wanted to do a build like this, because whenever I go through swatches, when I'm trying to figure out like what kind of exterior paint to use or like wallpaper inside the house and things like that, whenever I come across the swatches of things that are like really ugly, or you know, or the ones that look like they're dirty or broken or things like that, or even like with the stains, like for decorations, like in the carpets, there's those like water looking stains, and then for like some of the paintings, like instead of paint you can put like cracks on the walls or spider webs and things like that. And I never use any of those types of things in my builds because, you know, I'm always doing like a nice looking home or something like that. So I wanted to dedicate a build to creating something that was ugly that I could use all those different things for, the things that I never used before, you know. And I wanted to put cracks on the walls and put spider webs and put stains on the floors and on the walls and everything, and mess up the wallpaper and use all the dirty swatches. And I originally thought about creating this house and calling it like a serial killer's home, which I thought was probably a little bit too intense, and so I changed it to a criminal's home. And I decided to kind of fashion this house after like a criminal who steals a lot of things instead of making it a killer, because I thought about putting like a bunch of knives and, you know, just like any kind of random tool that could be used as a weapon. I just kind of having those everywhere, but instead I just went for like a generally messy house filled with a bunch of things that maybe this criminal got from, you know, breaking into somebody's car or somebody's house, or you know, just like stealing cars. Like you'll see I have those like, I don't know how to describe it, those like pieces of cars in the yard, and I imagine that those are the leftovers of cars that he's stolen before and kind of sold off for parts and everything, and that's just what's left of the car, just to kind of rot in his yard. And it might seem a little weird that I used a kind of nicer looking car as the vehicle that is still in use, but you know, I feel like there's so many times that I watch documentaries and everything of killers or criminals and things like that, and for some reason they always seem to have like a muscle car or something. So I mean, not all of them, like a lot of times it can be like just like a rundown sedan or something like that, but you know, when I saw the muscle car in the debug menu, I thought that it would be kind of fitting if he has a muscle car that he still uses to go and do his crimes or whatever. But and then I love the addition of the trailer in the backyard, because I imagine that he uses the trailer to kind of store all the things that he steals from people. Like, you know, he has a bunch of junk in his house, but like the things that he really like wants to keep hidden, he keeps all the stuff that he really wants to keep hidden in the trailer out in the backyard. So yeah, so I thought that would be a cool addition also to the outside area. I think I pretty much completed the entire outside of the house before I went in to do all the interior furnishing and everything. And you know, I mean, I've done this sometimes in previous videos, but I didn't really consider how big the house was when I was working on the outside of it. So once I actually went in to do the floor plan, I was like, man, I hope it's big enough that I can fit everything that I need to fit in here. And it actually turned out to work really well. I think it was just big enough, but not too big, because I still wanted it to look like it was a smaller home and, you know, like really open floor plan, like not something that was nicely designed or structured well or whatever. So of course I started with the kitchen. Even though this is a house that I really wanted to look like mismatched and just messy and everything, I still wanted to have something that looked like it might have been something nice before. So, you know, with the kitchen, I used the really old looking appliances like the stove and the refrigerator and everything. And even the cabinetry looks gross, but I love that I took off that one countertop, because I kind of made it look like there used to be a countertop there, but I guess it got messed up or something. And so he just replaced it with whatever random shelf he could find and just stuck it there between the sink and the stove, and then added a bunch of other shelves on top. So yeah, I wanted it to look really cluttered. I wanted to just have a bunch of random objects everywhere, because, you know, it's like things that he, again, takes from, you know, stealing from people. And once he gets home, he just kind of throws things around, like wherever he can find room for it, pretty much. Or like puts it in bins or boxes or something, and just kind of pushes it to the side, like not really caring what he does with it, because he's a criminal, so he doesn't allow anybody to come visit him or go into his house or things like that. So you also might notice I have kind of random liquor bottles placed throughout the home and everything, and I thought it would be a neat little addition to the fact that he is a criminal, so I imagine he also has other addictive problems like drinking. And you know, and I feel like there's been so many times where, again, in documentaries, I've seen, you know, pictures of either the criminal's home or crime scenes and stuff, and there's always like random bottles of liquor or beer cans and things just kind of laying everywhere. So I wanted to make sure I included that in the decor of this house. And you see I also put those like stains on the walls. I put the cracks on the walls. I just kind of have piles of laundry on the floor every now and then. I put those boxes of things kind of everywhere. And then I also added that stolen ATM in the corner of the like living room. I thought that was so neat. And it works perfectly with the whole idea of this house, so I had to make sure I included that somewhere. You know, and I have to say that even though it might seem really easy to use mismatched furniture and everything, I really put a lot of thought into it. Ironically, you know, I didn't want it to be like just random pieces of furniture. I wanted it to look like older furniture and maybe things that were maybe handed down to this guy, like from, you know, maybe it was like furniture from his mom's house or something that he kind of brought over, like with the chair with the different kind of floral pattern on it. I also end up putting a lamp on that side table in the living room that has a floral pattern too. And, you know, so I assume like, or like I kind of imagine it that he got a lot of furniture when he moved out of his mom's house or something like that. And so even though it could easily just be like, oh, just throw a bunch of random stuff in this house, I actually put a lot of thought into all of this, you know, even though it's really ugly and everything is mismatched and everything. And even with the inclusion of that weird looking lamp that looks like it's like a giraffe body with the lampshade on it, I put that there because I feel like there's so many times that you know, again, in these pictures that you see on documentaries with criminals, I feel like they always have some kind of random weird piece of furniture, and, you know, it's just like things that you wouldn't normally get for your home unless you were kind of eccentric or, you know, into weirder type furniture. So yeah, I included that lamp because of that. And then even with the carpet in the living room, like I wanted it to be something that looked really worn out. I didn't want to put a fresh looking carpet in a house that looks like crap. And so I wanted to make sure I used one of the swatches of a carpet or of a area rug that was, you know, kind of dirty looking, to go along with the rest of the dirty looking house. You know, when I was choosing the windows for this house, I was trying to find something that looked like it was a little bit more messed up, and the closest thing I could find to anything like that were the windows that have the like shutter open to one side. But I really was hoping that there was a window that maybe I never noticed before that like had like a shutter like hanging off of it or something like that. But unfortunately there was nothing that really looked run down in that sort of way. And even with the doors, like I couldn't really find any doors that looked really messed up. But you'll see here in the bathroom that I got pretty much the most crappy looking sink and toilet and shower, because again, I wanted it to look like, you know, because he doesn't really have anyone come to his house, maybe anytime the toilet broke down or something, he tried to fix it himself. And or even with the shower, like he kind of had to make like a makeshift shower because he didn't want to call some repair dude to come and fix it, because he didn't want to risk the guy seeing like the ATM in the living room, or, you know, people's random belongings all throughout his place. So the bathroom is really crappy. In his bedroom, you know, and it might sound weird to say, but part of the reason I wanted to do this at all is because I wanted to make use of that wallpaper that looks like all those like newspaper clippings and stuff like on the wall. And because, you know, I've seen that so many times in movies and TV shows and everything, where like someone's super obsessed with something and they have all those papers and everything taped to the wall and everything like that. And so I wanted to make sure I had at least one wall in this house that had that wallpaper in it. So in the bedroom, I have that whole wall that's dedicated to that. You know, kind of like maybe if his robberies or something made it in the newspaper and he kept those pieces of newspaper and kind of plastered it on his wall as like to show how proud he is of the crimes that he commits. And even on the you'll see the kind of cork board above the table with his computer on it, and I wanted to put postcards and everything, as maybe it's his way of, again, taking some kind of memento or something. Like he you know, anytime he goes through a town or something and commits a crime, like he'll get a postcard from that town, and just to have up on his wall as like, oh, I'm so proud of, you know, that like this is to remember this crime I committed in this town or something like that. But I think that was probably one of the last things I did here. And then I just kind of go around, make sure everything's complete like I normally do. And the screenshots are coming up, so enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.